Good afternoon, street soccer community. It's Coach Adam here again in Portland, Oregon. And if you tuned in last Tuesday, I took you through the foundations of dribbling. Small exercises that you can do while adhering to the stay-at-home order and social distancing best practices. Today, we're going to take all that we learned on Tuesday, start off with a quick review of that lesson, and then move on to some ways that you can progress and make those exercises more game-like. That said, whenever I do this exercise, it always makes me think of the street soccer skill, take the space, as well as playing the plan. In terms of take the space, this is an opportunity to be creative in constructing an exercise that's conducive to where you are, and whether you prefer to do these activities on the sidewalk, in the streets, in a patch of grass, or like me in your kitchen. You have to be able to adapt to those circumstances. And so, like I said, today we're going to work on playing the plan and taking the space, all through the foundations of dribbling. So, some things that you'll need. You will need a open space that's big enough for you, a soccer ball. I'll be using the same one as last week from our partners over at Senda Athletics. Thank you, Senda. And as well as a couple of obstacles. So for me today, I'll be using a jar of peanut butter and a can of chicken broth. I wouldn't recommend mixing these together for a meal, but separately they're pretty good. And lastly, I will be using a chair with a large gap in the middle. So, before we get to any of those props, we're going to go through the 5 stages of the foundations of dribbling just quickly to give everyone a refresher, and then I will show you how to incorporate our new defenders. All right, let's get started. So, first things first, we have stage 1. Those are your TikToks. Just popping the ball in between your feet, you're in balance, you're in rhythm, and then we move on to stage 2. One-footed TikToks. So painting the ball side to side, switching legs, getting that good lateral movement, moving the ball side to side. And then if you remember, step 3 is we're going to put it all together. So we're going to start with our TikToks, and we're going to step 2 and 3 together, just like that. Now, for step 4, we're going to do that same rhythm, but add in a drag. So we're going to start off with stage 1, move to stages 2 and 3. Woo! Almost lost it there. Stages 2 and 3. And then we're going to add in a drag. So drag over, push to the outside, drag over, push to the outside. Just like that. So, lastly was our pullbacks in rhythm. Have our foot on the ball, pull it back, push it through, pull it back, push it through, pull it back, push it through. All like this, just like you're dancing. All right, those were all of our foundations of dribbling that we worked on last week. Now let's put it together and add in a couple of defenders. So, the best defenders in my kitchen, like I said last time, is a can of chicken broth and a jar of peanut butter. You're gonna place these about a yard apart from each other. Now, what I want us to think about is these jars and cans as defenders' feet. So just like defenders' feet, we should imagine that there is a body and a leg attached to all of them. So, what you're going to do is go through this two object setup in a figure 8 motion while maintaining those foundations of dribbling. Try to do this with your head up if you can, and make sure that you're giving a wide berth around each of the objects, because like I said earlier, there are defenders attached to them. So, start off on the back here, and we'll just start with stage 1. Popping the ball between your feet, quick touches, moving all the way outside of the objects and moving backwards and back through and back to the start. Now that was just stage one. This provides you with a good basis to use the inside of your feet to learn how to adjust your body and stay in rhythm while moving through spaces. Try to think of this like you're navigating between two defenders. You're trying to create space for yourself to find a passing angle, and you want to become an expert in using those insides of your feet. So then when you get into a game, you can be comfortable with the ball at your feet, comfortable moving in between defenders while keeping your head up and finding your teammates. So, moving on to steps 2 and 3. These are our one-legged TikToks, if you remember. So, what we're going to do with these is get a little bit creative, but try to position yourself like you're going to make a move to one direction or the other. So, we're popping the ball, coming to this side, and then we're going to explode through, keep it all on that right foot, and then we're moving backwards, and we're going to explode through to the other side, and make our way back here. Now, what that helps us work on is creating space for ourselves, but potentially doing it with a defender on our back. So we have to keep the ball on this right foot to avoid the defender who's coming on our left. All right, now let's switch things up and use the other foot. So we're bouncing, move the ball to one side, and we explode out and find the ball again, and then we're moving, coming in backwards. So you can see I can do some practice as well. Push the ball to the outside, explode over, and come all the way back. So, as you can imagine, the more space you have, the more obstacles you can implement, the more defenders you can implement, which just means that you can keep moving, trying to create a more complex pattern for yourself. So, next iteration. So we're going to be putting all of this together and moving through the defenders quite seamlessly. So, if you remember back to stage 4 of our foundation dribbling, that's putting everything together. So, we're bouncing together. So, what we just demonstrated here is the functionality of everything that we worked on last Tuesday. Moving through obstacles, creating space, and providing a platform for us to use the stay-at-home order and the social distancing regulations to sharpen our skills for when we can get back to playing. So, 2 more iterations, and then we're going to bring in the chair. Next, if you remember from last Tuesday, is the rollover, and the push to the side, and the rollover, push to the side. So, with this one, we're actually going to do it a little bit different, so we can accentuate that rollover. So, we're bouncing, moving to one side, and quickly we're going to roll over, come back to the other side, roll over, come back to the other side, moving forward, roll over to the other side, roll over. So even with just 2 obstacles, we found that we can move any direction, we can create space for ourselves in different situations, and really try to replicate all of the movements and all the motions that we're going to have in a practice and in a game. So, what we're going to do now, something a little bit trickier, which is our pullbacks and push through. So, we're going to try to do this around the defenders, through the gate, and try to create space for ourselves. So, starts off with our TikToks. We're going to go forward, pull back, push through, pull back, push through, pull back, push through, pull back, push through. Maybe we advance it a little bit, see if we can go backwards. Pull back, push it through, and just like that. So, a little bit winded. So, with everything that we have so far, what we've been able to build up to is really centered around the street soccer themes of play the plan. That's creating your field to work on moving spaces, as well as our theme of take the space, which is really about providing yourself with enough leeway on either side of those obstacles so that they mimic defenders in the game. So you're not going through feet, you're going around them. All right. Last but not least, we've got the chair obstacle. So, You're gonna take your two defenders. You can either put them away or give yourself a little bit more room. I'm gonna choose to give myself a little bit more room. And I'm going to add in one more obstacle. So, what you're gonna do here is you can work on everything we just did with those two cones, but adding in the chair. So, what do I mean by that? I'll take it slow this first time. So if we're at stage one, we're doing our TikToks, we're weaving around, and then when we get to the chair, just gonna pass it right through, and we're back to our TikToks, and we're around that can of soup, and then we're back to this side, and we're gonna play through, and we're moving back to our starting position. So, all of these objects can be found by getting creative, whether you have a chair, whether you have cans. It can be really anything to provide yourself with a challenge. So we'll do a quick demo on a couple of other stages while using the chair, and then it'll be up to you to replicate. We look forward to seeing your video submissions. So start with stage one, moving into stage 2 and 3. We're going to push it through with the outside, and we're moving again. So as you can see, I'm blending a lot of the different stages that we worked on before. Even here, I went to stage 1 and then to 4. And we're moving again, moving again. And you can do just like that. You can adapt to different circumstances. You can use different surfaces of your feet. But the key here is being creative, working on your skills, and trying to do your best during these difficult circumstances. That's all for me today. Again, my name's Adam, coming out of Portland, Oregon. We miss you all dearly, and we hope that you're keeping up with Street Soccer TV and with your local coaching sessions in your cities. All right, everybody, I'll see you soon.